This is Mel Owens, and you're watching Class Act Sports.
Jared Ginsburg from Class Act Sports. We're joined by former first-round draft pick Mel Owens. Mel, thanks for taking the time to join us. What are you up to these days?
Well, after I played, I went and got my law degree, and now we're representing players relative to their disabilities.
Did you always know that you wanted to be an attorney representing players like yourself that were going to eventually be retired from the league?
No.
When did you figure out that was a passion of yours to protect the interests of the players like yourself that once played in the league?
Well, once I retired, the injuries started to manifest themselves more and more. And when I went to law school, I didn't think I was going to do this. However, when I got out of it, it was sort of fortuitous. I was hired by an insurance company, and they were doing some representation of the teams and their disabilities. And then eventually I went and followed my passion, which was the representation of the players.
Now, obviously you have the protecting the interests of the players. What's your thought on, are the injuries really increasing like they say that they are? What do you see going on with the league?
Well, I wouldn't say they're increasing because the game itself is still played on the same field, same amount of players. Of course, the players are bigger, stronger, faster now, but also the equipment has improved, better to protect the players. However, no matter what happens, it's going to be a collision sport. People are going to get injured. So I wouldn't say that there's more injuries, it's just more awareness of the injuries.
As a former first-round draft pick, what's your take on the rookie pay scale? A lot of people think it needs to be adjusted, as do I, considering people coming into the league that haven't played it down, getting more than some of the veterans. What's your take on that?
Well, I'm never a fan of capping someone's salary or someone's ability to make a living. However, the salary cap has been good for a number of sports. Remember, it's not the players that are paying themselves, it's the owners. So they could not pay the player that much if they wanted to, but then I guess you'd fall into collusion. But nonetheless, if it's going to be good for the game and good for the veterans, I'm all for it. However, I'm not in favor of a cap.
In your opinion, what's going to be the biggest sticking point to work out the collective bargaining agreement to avoid a holdout or a lockout for the 2011 NFL season?
Well, the owners, they want to increase their revenue, obviously. Back in a few years ago, they agreed to $1 billion, basically, and that capped their front-end money. Now, the way to make it up, they want the players to take an 18% cut, or they want to extend the season by 2 games, which would give them additional revenue. Obviously, there's going to be something there that's going to be the sticking point. However, the owners say that the players should share because of the additional cost. They want to grow the game. But the players that are playing now won't be around to benefit from the sort of growing of the game later on that they probably took a pay cut for. So I believe there's going to be something worked out because I went through 2 strikes when I was a player, and the players always cave. I don't see the players having the fortitude to go through a whole season because they're making a lot of money. Back when I played, we weren't making $1 million, but still, whatever we were making was a lot of money to us. And a lot of guys crossed or put pressure on the leadership to get a deal done. So I think a deal will be done before there's a strike.
Now you're an LA guy. Is Los Angeles ever going to regain an NFL franchise?
I believe the St. Louis franchise is going to move back to Los Angeles. Now, you think I'm crazy? Remember, you heard it here first. Okay?
So does that mean that St. Louis could potentially lose a franchise? What would that mean for someone like a Sam Bradford that would now have to transition over to the West Coast, hypothetically?
Nothing. He's probably going to like it more or like it better because it's warmer weather. It would fit his personal lifestyle, I believe. And, teams move around all the time. St. Louis moved to Arizona. The LA moved to St. Louis. If they move back, it's no big deal.
Mel, let me ask you a question. It's about 10 degrees outside in Dallas right now. Luckily for the players, there's a dome. What's your take on a cold weather Super Bowl, which will eventually be in New York in a couple years?
Well, I won't be there, okay? However, I'm from Detroit, and in 2006, the Super Bowl was held in Detroit. It's a dome. And I went there because I'm from Michigan. Detroit put on an excellent Super Bowl, a great week. I woke up this morning in this 10-degree weather, and I said, man, I'm glad I'm not playing. I personally wouldn't do it, okay? But New York is probably the only place that could pull it off because it's an attraction. If it was in Green Bay, you'd get like 12 people showing up.
Last thing, what was the highlight of your career in the NFL?
Retiring. No, that's one of them. But, I was always a Los Angeles Ram fan, even when I was a kid growing up in Detroit. So when I got drafted by the Rams, it was a dream come true, and I had the privilege to be drafted in the first round. Another fantasy of mine. It's just been wonderful, and just playing with a lot of good players, and then coming back to the Super Bowl, and really being a part of it. I never went to a Super Bowl. We played in 2 NFC championships. But I just feel fortunate that I can call this work.
You said fantasy. You mentioned the word fantasy. Do you think that fantasy football and the type of aspect of creating a fan atmosphere has helped the game grow?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not a fantasy player. I've never played, don't know the first thing about it. However, it really allowed the fan to be engaged with the players and the whole league aspect of it, and it lets them participate. It gets them involved in some of the content, the newspapers, the media, the internet, websites, and it's a revenue generator as well. So I think it's really helped the fan base of the NFL, and I think you can track it from when fantasy football became really viable. You see the NFL's popularity just skyrocket and take off. So I think it's a very intricate part of the game today.
Super Bowl 45, thanks for stopping by. Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers, who are you taking?
I think Green Bay is better. However, I got a friend, Garrett Guimont, that works for the Steelers. So I'm going to pull for the Steelers to win, but I think Green Bay's better. But they're both good. I want Pittsburgh to win though.
And how can the players out there get a hold of Mel Owens?
Well, they can email me at mowens@nbolaw.com. That's Mowens, O-W-E-N-S, at NancyBravoOscarLaw.com. mowens@nbolaw.com.
I'm Jared Ginsburg, live at the Ghost Bar in the W Hotel. We thank Mel Owens for taking the time to stop by. From Class Act Sports, it's a wrap.